All right, everybody, I'm here at Automuseum Volkswagen, and you guys want to talk about rare cars? Here we go. I'm actually here before it opened, but they had this door open, and I asked if I could take some video of this car. It's a Scirocco camback wagon. I think I've only seen this in pictures, but oh my God, check this out. Can't even imagine how rare this car is. This is amazing. And I can't go into the museum yet because they have mopped the floors and are still wet, but as soon as they're open, I'm going to get to go in. But this is just a sneak peek of what we got here today.
Wolfsburg geboren. Ja.
All right, everyone. So I just had the most amazing experience here at the museum, but you're gonna have to wait till later in the video to see what that is. So, Adam, you were complaining about not enough Sciroccos and Corrados. Well, I got your medicine today, because right now it is the Scirocco and Corrado exhibit, and I'm just going to pan around the room, and then we'll go look at some of the different cars. But check this out. So you can see down in the corner of this Rieger Scirocco the bracing that they had to put in along the sill to strengthen the unibody so that they could remove the top. It's interesting that it's very unrestored and kind of an indication of how they did things back in the day. All right, so they moved the Chihuahua back into the museum from the one that I got up front. But they put it next to the Corrado Wagon, which I think there's only 2 of these, maybe 3 ever made. Super rad. And of course, if you like, and you get tired, they have these oddly familiar chairs placed around the museum that you can have a sit on. Definitely old Mark I seats. Still very comfortable. All right, I really can't talk about like the air-cooled stuff as well as I can talk about the water-cooled stuff. So I'm not even going to try, and I'm not going to include a bunch of that stuff in this video because it would just be way too long. There's so many cars here, 140 different cars on display, and some of them are extremely rare. A lot of prototypes. I don't want to spoil everything that's on the tour, but over there, that is the T1 barn door prototype van. I'll shoot a little bit of that. EA 128, prototype of a car that was made for the US that never went into production. I'll shoot that as well. Yeah, there's so much amazing stuff here, and it's a very small place compared to the Autostadt. So do yourself a favor and make a visit to Wolfsburg to check this place out. So here's one I figured I should talk about a little bit. It's a Targa roof Scirocco. I'm not sure how they did it. I've never seen or heard of it being done. But it has this whole center panel that comes out and kind of a bar across the center, like a 914 or a 911 Targa. So pretty cool. I kind of wish they would have made more of these. Another car I figured I should talk about. Wait for it. If any of you guys have been around since the 2000s, like the early 2000s, you're going to know this car. And I can't believe it's actually here and I'm seeing it. I absolutely cannot believe that they have Hans Dahlbach's 900 horsepower IMSA powered 5-cylinder Mark IV here. That's amazing. And of course, the bimotor Scirocco. I think this was the factory built 2-engine car. So it has an engine in the front and an engine, you might not be able to see it, but I actually have some pictures. The gentleman that I'll introduce to you later in the video allowed me to open the trunk and take a couple of pictures of inside of the trunk here. But underneath it's a Lexan screen here, but underneath this package shelf is a whole nother 8-valve drivetrain underneath it.
Go Mariners, right over Afghanistan.
So this here behind me is a Piaggini Passo, which is basically a Gulf Country plus a cabriolet made by someone else. Pretty cool. I don't think I've ever seen one of those in person. All right, everybody, this is a huge honor for me. I am here at Automuseum Volkswagen, and I was allowed to come into the engine room. And this is where they have all of the different engines over the years. There's some really amazing things in here. And I'm going to take a couple of minutes and just kind of go over some of the highlights of this room, some of the really neat stuff that's in here. I don't know everything about all of it, but I'll start off here in the corner. The first one, so this one is a diesel developed by Porsche for the Beetle. A very, very old engine built in the 40s. And
For Volkswagen.
so yes, this is actually a prototype engine that was developed Porsche, or by Porsche for Volkswagen. Some of the other amazing stuff here, we have some G-ladder cutaways here, single cylinder diesel engine. Something I never even knew existed. This one here. So this is a 2.4 VR6 diesel, which I bet would sound absolutely amazing. And right next to it, we have the VR6 engines that were actually put into the Mark II chassis for testing. I've seen pictures of these, but I've never actually seen one in person. And then here we have, this is a 2-liter VR6. And then down here we have a spare head for a VR6. All right, so another interesting thing that they have here in the engine room at the Automuseum is they have a prototype for the original Rabbit engines. And that's what this looks like right here. So overhead can, carburetor intake, a very deep sump at the bottom. And as you can see from that, it looks like they originally had planned on it being air-cooled before they switched to a water-cooled engine. Fortunately, we ended up with the water-cooled engines and ended up in a more familiar setup like that, which you're used to seeing. Now, another very cool engine that they have here, this one is the W16 from the Bugatti. As you can see, it is a massive piece of engineering. So one of the things that you may have noticed in the background was all of these models. And these all came from the development team. These are models that they used to pitch their ideas and colors to the bosses at Volkswagen. And there's some of these are cars that weren't produced, some of them are cars that were produced. But all of these models here came from the development team at Volkswagen. They were never released, they're not toys. There's actually a clay model of a Scirocco down here on the bottom shelf. And it's a very, very neat to see a lot of this preserved, and you can tell that these were all made, not made to be produced, but like you can see the little windshield wiper here, made to get their point across, but not to be made as toys, but just as a demonstration of a concept. So I'll take a moment and show you guys these. All right, so I am here in the engine room, and I wanted to just briefly introduce the gentleman that allowed me to come in here and witness the really cool stuff that's in here. And I'll let him introduce himself because he has a difficult German name, and I'm not very good with German. But here he is.
Hello, my name is Ernst Dieter Lilia, and since 1967 I worked 7 years as a technician in the planning department development. At this time started the development of the Golf 1. in the time I developed and repaired overheads and valves for engines. Thank you.
Yes. And he was also part of the development team for the wiring harnesses in the Mark I Golf. So it was a really, really humbling honor to meet this gentleman and just get some of his wisdom and experience on the cars around the museum. And he's a tour guide here, so if you come, is it Saturdays and Sundays?
Yes.
He's a tour guide here on Saturdays and Sundays, so if you come on a Saturday or Sunday, you can get a tour with him, and he'll walk you around this amazing facility. So when he was an apprentice at Volkswagen, this is actually the machine that he worked on. That is pretty amazing. All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up a very amazing visit to Automuseum Wolfsburg. Definitely got to see some really unique vehicles here, and I'm really glad I made time to come out here. I ended up spending about 4 hours here, which I don't regret in any way. So if you make a trip, Autostadt and Automuseum Wolfsburg are two must-sees here in Wolfsburg. So that's all for this episode. Tomorrow, we're going somewhere else. So find out where that is tomorrow. Until next time, get out there and work on something.